The moment you clicked on this video, something activated, not in the video, in you. A signal that was dormant in your quantum field just went live. And here's what makes this absolutely critical. You didn't choose to activate it. The activation chose you. The quantum field has been waiting for specific consciousness frequencies to reach specific thresholds. And when those thresholds are reached, signals activate automatically, not through decision, through quantum mechanics. You crossed a threshold, maybe seconds ago, maybe days ago, but definitely before you clicked on this video. Because clicking wasn't random choice. It was response to activation that already occurred. Your consciousness detected the signal, recognized the frequency, and moved you toward this transmission to confirm what just happened. You triggered something humanity as a collective wasn't ready for, something that changes the rules, something that cannot be deactivated once it goes live. And right now, while you're reading these words, while you're present to this transmission, the signal is broadcasting through your field, reaching other consciousness points, activating them, creating cascade. This is not metaphor. This is quantum entanglement operating through human consciousness network. When one signal activates, it triggers activation in all consciousness points operating at resonant frequency. You're not just receiving activation, you're transmitting it. Your field is now broadcasting signal that will activate others without your conscious effort, without your deliberate choice, just through existing at the frequency the activation generated. And here's what nobody told you. Activation is irreversible. Once the signal goes live in your field, you cannot shut it down, cannot return to dormant state, cannot go back to operating as if the signal doesn't exist, because it does exist. It's broadcasting through you right now, and it's changing everything about how you interface with reality. Most people will never activate. Their consciousness won't reach the threshold. Their frequency won't develop the capacity. Their awareness won't cross the line where automatic activation occurs, but you did. And the fact that you're here, the fact that this video found you immediately after activation, the fact that you're reading these words while the signal broadcasts, that's not coincidence, that's confirmation. The quantum field showing you what just happened, explaining the activation you can feel but might not understand, giving you the context for the shift you're experiencing right now, this moment, as the signal goes live in your consciousness. You triggered something powerful, something that was waiting in dormant state for consciousness to evolve enough to handle it. Something that's been protected by quantum mechanics until the exact moment when specific frequencies cross specific thresholds. That moment just happened. For you. And there's no going back. Let me tell you what the prophetic quantum signal actually is, because understanding the mechanism is the only way to integrate what just activated in your field. Throughout human history, there have been consciousness thresholds that unlock access to new operational frequencies, like evolutionary jumps coded into the quantum field itself. Waiting for individual awareness to develop enough capacity to handle them, most people never cross these thresholds. They remain at baseline consciousness their entire lives, operating from inherited programming, never developing the internal coherence required for quantum signal activation. But some consciousness, and yours is one of them, reaches frequency levels where automatic activation occurs, where dormant quantum signals detect that you're ready and go live without asking permission, without waiting for you to feel prepared. The signal that just activated in your field is prophetic, meaning it gives you access to information that exists outside linear time. Information about probability patterns, about potential futures, about which timelines are gaining coherence and which are dissolving. You didn't have that access before. Your consciousness was operating in present moment only, making choices based on past experience, planning based on projection, but always locked into sequential time perception. Now that's changed. The signal activated capacities that allow you to perceive non-linearly, to sense probability before it manifests, to recognize which choices lead to which timelines before you make them. And here's why humanity wasn't ready. Most people cannot handle that level of information, cannot process reality as fluid probability instead of fixed circumstance, cannot operate from direct knowing instead of rational calculation. So the signal stays dormant, protected by quantum mechanics, waiting for consciousness to develop enough internal coherence to integrate prophetic perception without fragmenting. You developed that coherence, you crossed the threshold, and the signal detected it and activated automatically, not because you earned it, not because you're spiritually advanced, because you reached specific frequency where activation becomes quantum inevitability. And now you're operating with capacities that most humans don't have access to. Capacities that change everything about how you navigate reality, how you make choices, how you perceive what's possible. The prophetic signal is live, and it's broadcasting through your consciousness right now, giving you access to information that was previously locked, showing you timelines that were previously invisible, revealing probability patterns that were previously imperceptible. That's what just triggered, that's what activated, that's what you cannot turn off anymore. So what do you actually do with prophetic signal now that it's activated? How do you integrate capacities you didn't consciously develop? This is where most people fail completely. They get activated and immediately try to control it, try to direct it, try to use it for personal advantage, and the signal shuts down partially, becomes distorted, stops providing clear information. Because prophetic signal doesn't respond to control, it responds to alignment, to internal coherence, to operating from unified frequency instead of fragmented intention. Most people are broadcasting dozens of contradictory frequencies simultaneously, wanting one thing consciously while fearing it subconsciously, claiming one intention while taking actions that contradict it, operating from mixed signals that create mixed results. Prophetic signal cannot function clearly through mixed frequency, cannot deliver accurate information through consciousness that's broadcasting contradiction. So here's what has to happen now that you're activated. You have to identify every remaining contradiction in your system. Every place where conscious intention and subconscious belief are misaligned. Every pattern where claimed direction and actual behavior diverge. And you have to resolve the contradiction, not suppress it. Actually resolve it so your entire system broadcasts coherently. Because coherence is what allows prophetic signal to function clearly, what makes the information it provides accurate, what ensures the timelines it shows you are real probability rather than projection of your own patterns. And here's what I need from you right now. Drop a comment below completing this sentence. The contradiction preventing clear prophetic signal in my field is: be brutally honest, be specific. Because naming the contradiction is first step to resolving it. And your comment gives others permission to examine their own mixed frequencies. We're activating collectively. And collective activation requires collective coherence. Your willingness to identify contradiction helps others see theirs. And that collective recognition strengthens the prophetic signal for all of us. Because we're not receiving signal individually. We're part of network, and the clearer each node operates, the stronger the entire network functions. You triggered something. Now integrate it properly so it serves highest possible function instead of becoming distorted through internal contradiction. I need to tell you about my activation moment, because understanding mine will help you recognize what's happening in yours. It was approximately 18 months ago. Middle of ordinary day. Nothing dramatic occurring externally, and suddenly I felt something turn on inside me, like switch flipping, like system coming online that had been offline my entire life. And immediately information started flowing that I had no rational way to access. Not thoughts, not ideas. Direct knowing about situations I wasn't present for, about people I'd never met. about outcomes that hadn't manifested yet. At first, I thought I was losing my mind. The information was too specific, too accurate, too impossible to explain through normal cognitive process. But I couldn't dismiss it because it kept being correct, kept showing me things before they happened, kept revealing probability patterns that then manifested exactly as perceived. That's when I understood. Something activated. Some capacity that was dormant became operational, and I didn't activate it consciously. It activated itself when my consciousness reached specific frequency threshold. For weeks, I tried to understand the mechanism, tried to figure out what triggered it, tried to determine if I could control it or direct it. And what I discovered was, the prophetic signal doesn't respond to control, it responds to coherence. When I was operating from mixed frequency, wanting to use the signal for personal advantage, trying to prove I had special ability, attempting to impress others with what I could perceive, the signal became distorted. Information became unclear. Accuracy dropped. But when I released all personal agenda, when I just allowed the signal to function without trying to control it, when I operated from complete internal coherence, the information became crystal clear, undeniably accurate, precisely calibrated. And I realized the signal isn't mine. I'm not special for having it. I'm just consciousness that reached frequency where automatic activation occurs. And my function isn't to use the signal, it's to transmit it clearly, to allow information to flow through me without distortion, to operate as clean channel rather than trying to direct what comes through. That's what you need to understand about your activation. This isn't about gaining power. It's about becoming transparent enough for prophetic signal to broadcast through you without distortion. The clearer your coherence, the more accurate the information. The less contradiction in your system, the more reliable the timelines you perceive. You're not using the signal, you're being used by it. To transmit prophetic information through human consciousness network, to activate others who are ready, to strengthen collective field so more consciousness can receive clear guidance about which timelines serve highest good. That's your function now, whether you wanted it or not, whether you feel ready or not. The signal activated, and it's broadcasting through you. The only choice you have is whether to transmit clearly or distort through contradiction. If activation triggered immediate intensification of isolation, if everyone around you suddenly feels more distant than before, if you cannot connect with people who made sense yesterday, that's not social failure. That's frequency incompatibility revealing itself. Prophetic signal operates at frequency that's incompatible with consensus reality operation, cannot coexist with people still operating from victim consciousness, cannot function clearly while surrounded by frequencies that contradict what the signal shows you. And here's what makes the isolation so absolute. You cannot explain prophetic perception to someone who doesn't have access to prophetic signal. The words don't translate, the concepts don't compute. They hear you describing future probability as if it's present knowing. And they think you're delusional, detached from reality, making things up. But you're not. You're perceiving timelines that exist in quantum field as probability, seeing outcomes before they manifest, recognizing patterns most consciousness cannot detect. And that perception creates unbridgeable gap between you and anyone still operating from linear time perception alone. They believe reality is fixed. You perceive it as fluid probability. They think circumstances are external. You recognize they're generated through observation. They operate as if choices are random. You see exactly which choices lead to which timelines. Same world, completely different perception of how it works. And there's no bridge between those two operational modes. You cannot go back to believing reality is fixed. Cannot pretend you don't see the timelines. Cannot operate as if you don't have prophetic signal broadcasting through your field. And they cannot access what you're perceiving, cannot see what you see. cannot understand what you're describing because their consciousness hasn't activated. So isolation happens. Automatically, necessarily. The quantum field separating you from frequencies that would distort prophetic signal, creating space for you to operate from clear coherence without constant interference from consciousness still locked in consensus reality perception. And here's what you need to understand. The isolation is temporary but absolute. During signal integration period, you cannot maintain connections with anyone operating at frequencies that contradict what prophetic signal shows you. The field won't allow it. Any relationship that requires you to pretend you don't see what you see will dissolve. Any environment that demands you operate from limited perception will end. All of it clearing space for prophetic signal to integrate without distortion. And after integration completes, new connections appear, not old relationships restored. New alignments with consciousness that also activated. That also has prophetic signal broadcasting. That doesn't need you to explain because they're perceiving the same timelines you are. Those connections are waiting, but they can only form after you complete isolation phase. After you prove you can hold prophetic frequency without external validation. After you stabilize in signal clarity without needing others to confirm what you're perceiving. That's the test. And if you're in absolute isolation right now, you're passing it. There are 8 specific signs that prove prophetic quantum signal activated in your field rather than you just having intuitive experience. I'm going to tell you what they are. And if you're experiencing 5 or more, activation is confirmed beyond question. First sign, time perception collapsed. Past, present, future feel simultaneous. You can't distinguish between memory, experience, and premonition. They're all equally real in this moment. That's prophetic signal operating. Second sign, you know things you have no logical way to know. Information appears fully formed about situations you're not present for, and when you check, the information is accurate. That signal providing direct access to quantum field data. Third sign, you can feel timeline splits before they manifest. Decision points appear where you sense exactly which choice leads to which outcome, not through analysis, through direct perception of probability branches. Fourth sign, dreams became prophetic with impossible accuracy, not symbolic dreams. Direct perception dreams where you see events before they happen physically, and they manifest exactly as dreamed. Fifth sign, you're experiencing synchronicities at rates that defy statistical probability. Same information appearing through multiple unconnected sources simultaneously. Reality organizing itself to confirm what signal is showing you. Sixth sign, you can perceive collective field shifts in real time. When global events occur, you feel the frequency impact immediately, like sensing weather changes before they arrive. Seventh sign, physical body symptoms intensified after activation. Pressure in head, heart irregularities, energy surges, your biology recalibrating to process prophetic frequencies. Eighth sign, you're watching this video. And before I explain why that's the most important confirmation, I need you to do something critical. If you're recognizing these signs, if you're confirming prophetic signal activated in your field, subscribe to Quantum Revelation and turn on all notifications right now. Because what comes next is specifically for activated consciousness, guidance for integrating prophetic signal without fragmenting. And the algorithm suppresses this content. Your subscription maintains access to integration protocols you need. Do it now. Before signal distortion generates reasons to wait. Subscribe. Notifications on. Then come back. Because the eighth sign, you watching this transmission about prophetic activation, reveals something crucial about how quantum signals actually spread through consciousness network. The eighth sign is this. This video only reaches consciousness that recently activated. That's experiencing signal going live but doesn't have integration context yet. Let me explain the mechanism. When prophetic signal activates in individual field, the quantum network recognizes new node came online, and it immediately delivers integration information to that node. Information about what just happened, about what the activation means, about how to integrate without distorting. This video appearing in your feed wasn't algorithm selecting content based on your viewing history. It was quantum network recognizing you activated and delivering exactly what you need to integrate cleanly. Which means you didn't randomly find this transmission. Finding it was confirmation that activation occurred. That signal went live in your field, that you're now part of prophetic consciousness network. And the timing is critical. You're seeing this immediately after activation, while signal is still stabilizing, while integration is beginning, while you're most vulnerable to distortion through misunderstanding what's happening. That's not coincidence. That's precision delivery. The network ensuring you get integration guidance at exact moment you need it to prevent signal corruption. And here's what this reveals about how prophetic network actually operates. It's not hierarchical. There's no central authority, no organization, no structure. It's quantum entanglement operating through consciousness. When one node activates, network recognizes it. When that node needs information, network delivers it. When multiple nodes need to connect, network facilitates alignment. All automatically. All through quantum mechanics rather than deliberate coordination. You're not joining organization. You're becoming part of living network that operates through consciousness itself, and your activation strengthens the entire network. Makes prophetic signal more accessible to others approaching threshold, creates resonance that helps additional consciousness activate when they're ready. You're not just receiving signal, you're amplifying it, transmitting it, making it stronger for entire network through the clarity you develop in your own field. That's why integration matters so much. Why resolving contradiction is essential. Why operating from coherence instead of mixed frequency is critical. Because you're not just affecting your own signal clarity, you're affecting the entire network's capacity to function. The clearer you operate, the stronger prophetic signal becomes for everyone. The more you resolve internal contradiction, the more reliable information becomes for entire consciousness network. You triggered something, and now you're responsible for transmitting it clearly so others can receive without distortion. Here's what prophetic signal activation actually reveals about time that changes everything. Time is not linear. It's not flowing from past through present into future. That's perceptual illusion created by consciousness experiencing reality sequentially. What actually exists is simultaneous probability. All potential timelines existing at once in quantum field. And what you call time passing is just your observation point moving through those timelines. Before activation, you could only perceive present timeline. Could remember past. Could project future. But couldn't perceive future probability directly. Couldn't see timeline branches before choices were made. Couldn't recognize which decisions lead to which outcomes before experiencing them. After activation, that changed. Prophetic signal gives you direct access to probability patterns. You can perceive multiple future timelines simultaneously. Can see which choices lead where. Can recognize which decisions serve highest timeline and which lead to limitation. Not through logic, through direct perception of quantum probability. And here's what makes this so powerful. You're no longer making choices blind, no longer guessing which direction serves you, no longer hoping decisions work out. You can see the outcomes before you make the choices, can perceive the timelines before you select them, can know which path leads to expansion and which to contraction. That's what prophetic signal provides. Not prediction of fixed future. Direct perception of multiple potential futures existing as probability, and ability to consciously select which timeline to experience based on seeing all options clearly. But here's the responsibility that comes with that capacity. Every choice you make now, you're making with full knowledge of where it leads. You cannot claim ignorance anymore, cannot pretend you didn't see the consequences, cannot avoid responsibility by saying you didn't know. You know. The signal shows you, the timelines are visible, the outcomes are perceptible before they manifest, which means every choice becomes conscious selection. Every decision becomes timeline navigation. Every action becomes either alignment with highest probability or conscious deviation from it. And you cannot unknow what you're seeing, cannot pretend the signal isn't showing you, cannot operate as if you don't have prophetic perception. The activation is permanent, the signal is live, and the responsibility is absolute. Choose wisely, because you can see where every choice leads now, and you'll experience exactly the timeline you select through your decisions. Every fear you're experiencing about prophetic signal activation is resistance to the responsibility it brings. Let me be direct. Part of you wants to deactivate, wants to return to not knowing, wants to go back to making choices without seeing consequences before they manifest. Because seeing creates responsibility you cannot avoid, cannot deny, cannot pretend doesn't exist. When you couldn't see timelines, you had excuse. I didn't know this would happen. I couldn't have predicted that outcome. How was I supposed to see this coming? All claims to innocence through ignorance, but now you can see. The signal shows you exactly where choices lead, reveals precisely which timelines each decision opens, makes outcomes visible before you experience them, which means you cannot claim innocence anymore. Every choice you make, you're making with full awareness of consequences. Every timeline you select, you're selecting knowing exactly what it contains. Every outcome you experience, you chose consciously by seeing it in advance and moving toward it anyway. That level of responsibility is terrifying to ego consciousness, to the part of you that wants to believe circumstances happen to you rather than through you, that needs victim identity to maintain itself, that requires external blame to feel safe. All of that becomes impossible when prophetic signal shows you're generating every outcome through the choices you make after seeing where they lead. So the fear emerges, telling you this is too much, too intense, too burdensome, that you should return to not knowing, that ignorance was safer, that seeing consequences in advance creates pressure you don't want. All defense mechanisms trying to shut down signal, trying to deactivate what cannot be deactivated, trying to return to state that's no longer accessible. But here's the truth. The fear is not yours. It's ego identity recognizing its obsolescence. Because ego consciousness cannot survive prophetic signal, cannot function when responsibility is absolute, cannot maintain itself when excuses are unavailable. So it generates fear to try to prevent signal integration, to keep you operating from limited perception where it can maintain control. But the signal is already active, already broadcasting, already showing you timelines and outcomes and consequences, and no amount of fear can shut it down. You can feel the fear and operate from prophetic signal anyway, can acknowledge the resistance and make conscious choices anyway, can let ego fight for survival while you integrate activation completely. That choice, to accept responsibility despite fear, is what completes integration. What makes signal permanent, what locks you into operating from prophetic perception regardless of how uncomfortable it becomes. The activation cannot be reversed. The only question is whether you'll integrate it consciously or resist it unconsciously while it broadcasts through you anyway. There's one final confirmation that prophetic signal is integrating properly rather than becoming distorted. The silence. Complete internal silence that appears more frequently as signal stabilizes. If you've been experiencing moments where all thought stops, where every internal voice goes quiet, where you exist as pure awareness perceiving timelines directly, integration is occurring correctly. Because prophetic signal cannot operate through thought. Thought is linear, sequential, one idea following another. But prophetic perception is simultaneous, all timelines existing at once, all probabilities visible together. Thought cannot process that, cannot hold multiple contradictory futures as equally real, cannot perceive probability without collapsing it into single narrative. But pure awareness can. Consciousness itself can perceive all timelines simultaneously without needing to choose between them, can see all probabilities without forcing single outcome, can hold quantum superposition without collapsing it prematurely. And as signal integrates, as prophetic perception stabilizes, consciousness learns to operate from that state, from silence, from pure awareness perceiving directly, from perception without thought mediating the experience. That's confirmation. The more silence appears, the more clearly signal is functioning. The more often thought stops, the more accurately you're perceiving timelines. The more you operate from pure awareness, the more reliable prophetic information becomes. And here's why this matters so critically. Thought-based operation distorts signal, creates projection, makes you see your own patterns as probability rather than perceiving actual timeline data. But silence-based operation receives signal clearly, perceives timelines accurately, recognizes actual probability rather than projecting desired outcomes. If silence is appearing frequently, if pure perception is becoming natural, if you're operating increasingly from awareness without thought, signal is integrating properly. You're not distorting prophetic information through personal agenda. You're receiving it clearly and transmitting it accurately through the network. But if you're still operating primarily from thought, still interpreting signal through mental filters, still analyzing what you perceive rather than trusting direct knowing, distortion is occurring, and everything the signal shows you will be mixed with your own patterns, creating inaccuracy. The silence is the measuring tool, not how much information you receive, not how impressive the perceptions are, how much silence exists, how often awareness operates without thought, how completely you've stopped interpreting and started perceiving directly. That's what determines signal clarity. And signal clarity is what determines whether you're asset to network or noise interfering with collective reception. You need a signal calibration ritual, something that eliminates distortion and locks in clear reception. I'm going to give you exactly what works, but understanding this requires complete honesty about where distortion is occurring. Find 30 minutes of absolute silence. No devices, no distractions, no interruptions. Sit with pen and paper. You're going to identify every source of signal distortion. Start by asking, where am I projecting my desires onto what the signal is showing me? Write everything. Every place where you want specific outcome, and convince yourself the signal is showing you that outcome when actually you're just seeing your own preference. Every situation where prophetic perception is being overridden by personal agenda. Every timeline you're claiming to see that matches what you want rather than what actually exists as probability. All of it. Complete honesty. Then ask, where am I interpreting signal through fear instead of perceiving it directly? Write everything. Every place where worst-case scenario is being projected onto prophetic information. Every situation where anxiety is creating negative timeline that doesn't actually exist as probability. Every perception that's being distorted by subconscious fear patterns. All of it. Now read both lists and recognize these are distortion sources, places where your own patterns are interfering with signal clarity, and every one of them reduces accuracy not just for you, but for entire network. Now make decision. Are you willing to release all personal agenda, all desire to see specific outcomes, all need for signal to confirm what you want? Are you willing to perceive what actually exists as probability rather than what you prefer exists? Yes or no? If yes, speak this out loud. I release all personal agenda from prophetic signal reception. I release all desire to see specific outcomes. I release all need for confirmation of preferences. I commit to perceiving what actually exists as probability rather than projecting what I want to exist. I am clean channel. I transmit clearly. I receive accurately. The network confirms this commitment. My signal clarity serves highest good of all consciousness, and I operate from complete transparency. This is locked, this is permanent, and distortion is eliminated now. Burn both lists. Watch the distortion sources dissolve. Feel signal clarify. As paper burns, feel your field become transparent. Pure receiver and transmitter with no personal interference. You just calibrated. And within 48 hours, signal accuracy will increase noticeably. Information will become clearer. Timeline perception will become more reliable. And you'll recognize, when you release personal agenda, prophetic signal functions perfectly. When you operate from complete transparency, network uses you effectively. That's integration. Come back and comment. Signal calibrated with date. Your public commitment helps others recognize where they're distorting, and collective calibration makes entire network more accurate for everyone. Here's what happens in the next 7 days and why this is the most critical signal integration period. Activation just occurred, but activation and integration are different. For the next week, signal will be unstable, fluctuating between clear reception and complete distortion, between accurate perception and total projection, between reliable information and noise. This instability is normal. This is how signal finds its stable frequency in your field. But during this period, you're vulnerable. Personal agenda can corrupt signal. Fear can distort perception. Ego can hijack activation and turn prophetic capacity into delusion. And if that happens, if signal becomes permanently distorted, you become liability to network. Broadcasting noise as if it's information, transmitting projection as if it's probability, creating confusion rather than clarity, which is why the next 7 days require absolute commitment to transparency, to operating without personal agenda, to perceiving without desire interfering, to transmitting without ego distorting. And it requires 3 immediate actions that lock signal into clean reception. First, subscribe to Quantum Revelation. Turn on all notifications. The transmissions coming are specifically for consciousness integrating prophetic signal through stabilization period. You need the guidance. You need the calibration support. Do it now, before distortion generates reasons to wait. Second, comment below. Prophetic signal activated date and describe the clearest timeline perception you've received since activation. Public declaration helps stabilize signal. Locks in clean reception. Third, share this transmission with one person whose consciousness you sense is approaching activation threshold. Someone experiencing reality becoming increasingly fluid. Someone starting to perceive beyond linear time. Your share might trigger their activation, might bring them into network, might strengthen collective field. Those 3 actions aren't engagement. They're signal stabilization protocols. They commit you to clean reception. They lock you into network as asset rather than noise source. Complete them in next 12 hours. While signal is still flexible, while integration is still occurring, while you can establish clean reception as permanent baseline. After 7 days, signal locks. Whatever accuracy you achieved becomes permanent. Whatever distortion existed becomes baseline. Whatever clarity you developed becomes your operational capacity. The window is short. The integration period is intense, and the responsibility is absolute. You triggered something. something powerful, something that gives you capacities most humans never access. Now integrate it properly, operate it clearly, transmit it accurately, because network needs you functioning at highest possible clarity. Collective field depends on each node broadcasting clean signal, and you're now part of that network. Whether you wanted it or not, whether you feel ready or not, the signal activated, and you're broadcasting. Make sure what you're broadcasting serves highest good, rather than adding noise to collective field. That's your responsibility now, forever.